got a mic.
Yeah.
I don't. Test. Test. Okay. We're going to get started, so if you can find your seats, we'd appreciate it. So good evening, everyone, and to all of our past and present inductees, their families, friends, valued community members in attendance today. Welcome to our 5th annual Phoenix Union Sports Hall of Fame. My name is Dr. Zach Munoz, and I'm the Director of Athletics for the Phoenix Union High School District and the chairperson of our Sports Hall of Fame. At this time, will you please rise and remain standing for the posting of the colors by the Betty Fairfax High School JROTC Color Guard and the singing of the national anthem by Betty Fairfax Choir member Alganish Bengesha.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red-glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's give Al Ganesha a hand again, and also for the Maryville Mariachi group that was out playing for the dinner portion of our ceremony. Please be seated. I'd like to start the evening, if I may, with a moment of silence to remember and honor our past inductees that we've lost over the years. Let's also take a moment to remember family members and friends that we have recently lost who were not able to join us for this joyous occasion. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge some important supporters and guests that we have here in attendance this evening. From the Phoenix Union High School Executive Leadership Team, I'd like to introduce Ms. Thea Andrade, our Chief Achievement Officer. Thea's somewhere in the back, I think. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Alyssa Tarkington, our Executive Director of Student and Family Services, who's also in attendance. And finally, I would like to recognize Mr. Richard Franco, our Director of Marketing and Communications. You'll see him over here. He'll be taking pictures and helping us out tonight. So thanks for coming out and appreciate it. And from our sponsoring organization for our Hall of Fame, the Phoenix Union Foundation for Education, our foundation board member and Alhambra alumni, she wanted to make sure I pointed that out, Miss Michelle Alcantar, she's in the back there and handing out information regarding this. Tonight we'll be honoring 16 championship teams, 43 athletes and coaches from 1985 to 1989, along with historical inductees from our 125-year history of our district. This induction class is arguably, and I know I'll have some that disagree, one of the greatest group of individuals to don the fields, courts, tracks, and sidelines of our many high schools. We are thrilled to include each of you as members of our Hall of Fame and share your outstanding stories of success, even if it's just for a little while. However, your stories will live on from this day forward as you become a permanent part of this hall and the great lore of the athletic programs of the Phoenix Union High School District. So at this time, it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce the superintendent of the Phoenix Union High School District, Dr. Chad Geston, who will be providing a welcome and an invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, the superintendent of the Phoenix Union High School District, Dr. Chad Geston.
Good evening to everyone. As Dr. Munoz said, first of all, let's give Dr. Munoz a big round of applause. Thank you for organizing this event tonight. Tonight I get to do two things. One, I will offer a brief prayer as we begin tonight to bless our evening and our food. Maybe not common in public schools, but an important thing for us to do tonight. And then also want to share a little bit about Phoenix Union, where we're at today, in context for where we've been at in the future. So if you'll join with me first and bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask for your prayers and blessings upon this evening tonight. You have given so many people in this room such amazing talents and gifts, and we thank you, Lord, for having those great individuals share those gifts and talents with us many years ago, but many of those have chosen to go on and coach and mentor and give back to the community, and we thank you, Lord, for the amazing athletes and teams we're recognizing here today. We ask that you bless the rest of this evening, that you bless the meal, and we are very grateful for those hands who prepared the food tonight. Lord, we ask all this in your name. Amen. So Phoenix Union High School District, Dr. Zach Munoz mentioned a few minutes ago, we are celebrating our 125-year anniversary. We began in 1895 as a borrowed one-room schoolhouse. And today, we have 21 schools in our school district. We went from one school to 21. We have 11 large campuses. We have 10 small campuses. Today, we serve 30,000, almost 30,000 teenagers. First of all, if you've raised a teenager, one is tough. Try 30,000 every day. We also serve students that speak 100 languages. And across our system, we offer our students amazing opportunities. In fact, you see different colors. If you've been around Phoenix Union for the last 40 or 50 years, we had a different logo, we had a different color, and recently we launched a completely new brand for Phoenix Union. And you see, I believe behind me, a PXU and red and gray and black. And if you know much about the history of this amazing institution, Phoenix Union started as Phoenix Union, the high school. And it was Phoenix Union Coyotes, and it, in many generations, called itself PX for Phoenix Union, and also had colors that were red. And so in many ways, our new logo and our new brand is an ode to the an ode to the past, but it's also a fresh look at the future. And a part of that new branding is what we call this promise to our community that we will offer schools of opportunity. When we serve 30,000 youth every day, you have to know, I talked about 100 languages. Today in Phoenix Union, almost 90% of our students show up to our gates living at or below the federal poverty line. Phoenix Union serves mainly students of color and mainly students of poverty. And a big part of our opportunity and our outreach to our kids is to offer a full array of free clubs and free sports. As you may know, across our nation, sports are getting more and more expensive. And if you're a parent that's trying to put your kids through club sports and even pay to play in high schools, that many of the sports movements and opportunities across the country are pricing out kids of color and kids of poverty. And Phoenix Union is committed at all costs, and literally at all costs, to offering our kids free sports all across our system, freshmen, JV, varsity, boys and girls. And we offer over 20 sports, fall, winter, spring. In fact, many of you have come back over the years, have volunteered, have coached, have donated, and we appreciate your ongoing support. We are very excited about our student athletes. Part of the reason, and I'll end with this, part of the reason why we think it is so important for us to continue to invest heavily in clubs and sports is that we know that the attributes and the characteristics that are required in the real world today, we know that the attributes and the characteristics that companies are looking for today are those that are built on basketball courts and on football stadiums and in gymnasiums around our country. Grit, determination, competition, drive, teamwork, selflessness, sacrifice, hard work. These are all things that are learned naturally while playing sports, and so we will continue to invest. Many of you have gone on to be amazing athletes post-high school, but I've also read about most of you, and you've gone on to be amazing human beings and have had very successful careers outside of athletics, and that is why we'll continue to invest in our student athletes. And so let me just end by saying that you all have left an amazing legacy. The reason why we still value sports, the reason why we still invest in sports is because you trailblazed for many of our young men and our young women, and we couldn't be more proud of our teams and our coaches and our athletes. So congratulations on behalf of our entire district. Again, thank you for leaving an amazing legacy for our kids. And with that, I'll welcome back Dr. Zach Munoz. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gessen. Appreciate those words. And now on to our ceremony. At this time, I'd like to call up our co-masters of ceremony who will be leading the presentation of inductees. From the JV Sports Show and podcast on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060, Mr. James Poovey and Mr. Vince Delicio.
Good evening, everyone. We are so glad you joined us here this evening. We are pleased to be a part of this, Vince and I, to honor just a little bit of the greatness that is Phoenix Union Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Well, not just a little bit of the greatness. This is the greatest era of Phoenix Union High School sports. I can honestly say that because, yeah, we can applaud that. I grew up in the district, Camelback class of '89. Yeah, Spartans over here, Spartans. I know you Maryvale guys, I know. Anyway, and so I played sports. I played football, participated in track, and some other things in and around campus. And I'm in awe. I was in awe then. You know, I remember running home after I met Coach Kellen, my football coach, when I was a freshman, and I was just in awe. And I said, "Mom, Dad, here, sign my paperwork. I want to play football at Camelback High School." And I just met Batman. And, Coach Kellen looked like Adam West back then. I said, "I just met Batman." And, I had to make a decision later on in high school whether to go out for wrestling, and I decided not to because a guy named Nathan LeDuc was wrestling in my weight class, and I said, no wrestling. So, Nathan. Anyway,
Wise
state
decision,
champion.
Vince.
Yeah. So, anyway, welcome to the 5th annual Phoenix Union High School Sports Hall of Fame. I'm a privileged member of the committee. This is my 3rd year, so I've had a chance to kind of absorb this the last few years, and it's been a real thrill, a real ride, and it's been a lot of fun.
and we're going to have a great time here tonight. We appreciate everyone coming out. Before we get started, we're just going to let you know, as we call your name, we're going to start in alphabetical order by schools. And
Yes.
so we'll have you come up over here on stage right, which will be on the left side for you guys. You'll go ahead and get your plaque from Dr. Munoz. Stand there for a picture with him right quick, and then let your family know ahead of time to, when you're about to get called up, go ahead and proceed over here so you guys can take maybe a little family photo over here as well, and get that in right at the end of things there.
And the obligatory request to please silence your phone throughout the
Yes.
celebration, throughout the ceremony. Everybody's reaching into their pocket now. So thank you for doing that. This is a special evening. You're all great. Everyone that we are honoring tonight is exceptional, is great, and it's so nice that everybody can be here together to celebrate this evening.
Yeah, it's going to be a great evening. We're going to start out by recognizing some of the 1985 to 1989 championship sports teams. The 1985 girls basketball team from South Mountain.
Yeah, round
Yeah,
of
that's
applause.
it. Make some noise. There we go. The 1985 boys basketball team from Alhambra. The 85 boys cross country team from Trevor Brown. 1986 boys basketball from Carl Hayden. 86 boys cross country from Trevor Brown. The 1986 boys track and field from North High School. The 86 boys track and field from Maryvale High School. The 86 girls volleyball team from Camelback. The 87 boys track and field team from North. 1987 boys basketball at South Mountain. A member of the 5A classification, the 1987 boys basketball team at Carl Hayden. 87 girls volleyball from Camelback. The 1988 boys track and field team from North High School. The 88 boys basketball team also from North High School. Two teams from Trevor Brown, the 88 and 89 boys cross country team. And the 1989 girls volleyball team from Camelback. Congratulations to all those championship sports teams.
Okay, with that being said, let's begin. And beginning from Alhambra High School, let's start with Mitch Smith, Alhambra High School class of 1985, being inducted for basketball. Mitch was a four-year letterman. His senior season averaged 26 points, 17 rebounds, and 8 blocks per game. He was first-team All-State both in 84 and 85, led team to the state championship in 1985. He was the Arizona Player of the Year in 85, played at the University of Utah, was 10th in career scoring, 4th all-time, number 4 all-time in blocks and rebounding, played 10 years in European professional basketball leagues in Spain, Belgium, and Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Smith.
Next up, we have Nathan LeDuc from Alhambra High School, class of 1987. A member of the baseball, football, and wrestling team was Nathan LeDuc. A first-team All-State football in his junior and senior seasons, both offense and defense. The state wrestling champion in both 1986 and 87, and he was the runner-up in 1985. Had a career wrestling record of 95-6, Vince. First team All-State in baseball, 1987. Nathan was drafted by the San Diego Padres. He also received a football scholarship to Arizona State University. He was a two-time first-team All-Pac-10 and a 4-year starter for the Sun Devils. And Nathan was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in 1991. Nathan LeDuc.
I think it goes without saying that, you look at a guy like Nathan and you say, how does he do it? And because he doesn't look like an athlete. But he was an athlete. No, he was an athlete. No. You go in the weight room, and the guy was breaking lifting records. I think I saw him squat a
Mack
Volkswagen
truck.
bus back then.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was just an animal in the weight room, and that was when lifting wasn't all that popular. It just started coming in, and he worked with a couple of coaches at Alhambra, Coach Ron Scott being one, gentleman named Bob Stark back then.
A lot of guys
and,
dodging the weight
yeah.
room, but not Nathan LeDuc.
No, not Nathan LeDuc. So congratulations, Nathan. One of the truly great all-time high school athletes come out of the Phoenix Union High School District. Nathan's teammate, Nehumi Tuihalamaka, class of 85. Talk about lifting. Nahumi, football and wrestling. He was a 3-year varsity letterman in football, 4-year varsity letterman in wrestling. First team All-State offensive lineman in 1984. Metro Region heavyweight wrestling champion in 84. Placed 4th in the state wrestling championships. State champion in the annual Scottsdale Community College powerlifting tournament. Had a world record 918-pound squat back then.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Played football at Phoenix College. Valley of the Sun Bowl champions 1987. Played football at New Mexico Highlands. Played rugby for the Tempe Rugby Club. Won a national championship as a player coach. To this day, works with young people. Anybody that's a rugby player, I guarantee you in the Valley, they work with Nahumi. Nahumi Tuihalamaka.
Outstanding. Next up, we have Jim Hanawalt from Alhambra High School, class of 1985, on the basketball and football team. This guy played all 5 positions in 1985 on the championship basketball team.
At one time.
At one time,
Yeah.
that's right.
It was 5 against 1.
One-man show.
Yeah.
1985 honorable mention All-State and a nominee for the McDonald's All-American team in the same year. He was a 1985 first-team All-Stater, an All-Arizona teammate, and an All-Star game tight end as well. He received a full football scholarship to the University of Arizona, transferred to San Diego State University, and where he was a 3-year starter from 1988 to 1991. He coached at Alhambra, Camelback, North, and Cesar Chavez, and he continues to teach and coach boys golf at Cesar Chavez to this day. Jim Hanawalt. All right, Vince, Camelback High.
Here we go. Spartans. Onward, onward, Camelback. Let us cheer, cheer, cheer. See, Chris, I remember. Okay. Camelback High School. So I'd like to start off the inductions with Coach Pete Kellen. Coach Kellen was the longest-serving varsity head football coach at Camelback High School. He was my coach. He was Kevin's coach. He was a lot of other folks' coach back then. 1984 to 94, served 10 years as the head football coach at Camelback. Qualified for playoff berths 3 times, and one of those times won a Metro Region championship. Spent his entire coaching and teaching career at Camelback. Had opportunities to go elsewhere. 1972 to 99, he was a Spartan through and through. Also coached basketball and track and field. And back then, it wasn't one sport. If you had a varsity coach of one sport, he was the freshman coach of the other sport, and they worked together, and the kids played multiple sports, and that's what you did. And Coach Kellen, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Pete Kellen, and I know a lot of other people can say the same thing. And Coach Kellen was a gentleman that meant a lot to a lot of people. He was a very special human being, and Coach Kellen passed away in January of this year, but we are honoring him with induction into the Phoenix Union Sports Hall of Fame. Here to accept the award in his honor is his wife, Mary Gail Kellen. Coach Pete Kellen. I get to do the next one. This is my school. Chris Martin, Pixler. Chris Martin. I knew her as Chris. Class of 88, Camelback High School, basketball and volleyball. Chris was a 4-year varsity letterman in basketball and volleyball, member of state championship volleyball teams. Camelback was a dynasty in volleyball in the 80s, and won 2 championships, 86 and 87. First team all-region in volleyball her junior and senior years. 5A Player of the Year, Female Athlete of the Year for the state of Arizona. Played for Hall of Fame coach Nadine Sass. Was awarded a volleyball scholarship to Texas Tech University. Voted second team all-conference in her junior year at Tech. Voted first and second team all-conference her senior year. Voted to the Southwest All-Decade team. And she is also the daughter of Phoenix Union recently passed Hall of Fame inductee Hugo Martin, longtime administrator in the district. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Martin. Okay, I get another one. This guy is I'm the reason that he got his scholarship to ASU and he played 6 years in the NFL. So
here we go.
Kevin Menefield, class of 88. Kevin was, you see a basketball picture. He was a pretty darn good basketball player. He helped his team qualify for the playoffs in 86, 87, and 88. He was All-State and 5A Player of the Year in 87, set state records for assists per game and career, and that record held, I want to say, at least 20, 25 years, that assist record. He was honorable mention All-State cornerback, played at Arizona State University, football scholarship, easily could have played basketball, played in the blue and gray football all-star game, drafted by the Detroit Lions, played with Chicago Bears and Arizona Cardinals, and currently is an ASU Associate Athletic Director of Player Development, former Player Development. Ladies and gentlemen, my teammate, Kevin Minifield.
All right, we've got Dan Kiefer from Camelback High School, class of 1970, a member of the basketball and football team, a 3-year letterman in football, 2 years in basketball, a sophomore starter on the state finalist football team in 1967. He was a member of the All-State football team in 1970, attended the University of Arizona on a full-ride football scholarship for 1 year before joining the United States Marine Corps for 2 years during the Vietnam War. He also played at Phoenix College for 1 season. Accepting for Dan tonight will be his brother, Bill, Dan Kiefer. Once said by the late, great coach Jesse Parker, Dan Kiefer was one of the best offensive linemen I've coached in 40 years.
Says a lot. Okay, onward to Carl Hayden High School, where a familiar name has resurfaced. Marlon Rhymes, the last name Rhymes. Marlon, class of 89, member of back-to-back state championship teams, Street and Smith's honorable mention All-American his senior year, McDonald's All-American, first-team All-American his senior year, led Central Arizona College to their number 4 national ranking, broke the national junior college assist record his sophomore year, named all-national team, and received an athletic scholarship to the University of Pitt. Coached by and nephew of Phoenix Union Hall of Fame inductee and current Carl Hayden basketball coach R.G. Rhymes, coaching his 4th season as the varsity boys basketball coach and tennis coach at Camelback High School. Ladies and gentlemen, Marlon Rhymes.
We got another Rhymes now, Byron Rhymes from Carl Hayden High School, class of 1988, member of the basketball team. Byron was a 4-year starter and team captain of back-to-back state championship teams in 1986 and 1987. He was second-team All-State in 86, first-team All-State in 87 and 88. He was a McDonald's All-American honorable mention player in 1988. He coached the Salvation Army Youth National Champions in 2008. He currently serves as an assistant basketball coach at Camelback High School. He's also the coordinator for Grant Park Recreation Center Services, and he mentors at-risk youth. He's coached by and the nephew of Phoenix Union Hall of Fame inductee and current Carl Hayden boys basketball coach R.G. Rhymes. Byron Rhymes.
Jose Dodi Garcia, Carl Hayden High School, class of 1972, wrestling. Dodi was a 4-year varsity letterman, AAU state champion in Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling in 1970, was the state AAA runner-up at 119 pounds in 1971, state AAA champion at 132 in 1972, member of state championship team in both 70 and 71, and has been a USA boxing coach for more than 30 years, currently supporting multiple youth organizations. Jose Dodi Garcia.
Next up from Carl Hayden High School, it's Bob Alonzo, class of 1972, a member of the baseball and football team. Bob was a 3-year letterman in baseball and a 2-year letterman in football. a member of the first team All-State team in 1972. He was drafted by the San Francisco Giants in 1973. A two-year starter for Phoenix College, where he went all-conference in 1974. He was also a two-year starter for Grand Canyon College in 1977 and 1978, and was first-team All-District in 77 and 78 as well. Bob Alonzo.
Okay, let's move on to Central High School. Bruce Licklider, Central High School class of 67, wrestling. Bruce was a state finalist at 103 pounds in 1965. I think I weighed that when I was like 3. Member of Central's first state championship wrestling team in 1965. He was a state champion at 112 pounds in 66. He was an undefeated division champion, top 5 in the state at 120 pounds in 1967, and was also a Vietnam veteran serving in the U.S. Air Force. Bruce Licklider.
Next up, we have Dick Trimmer from Central High School, a member of the wrestling team. 1961 to 1967, the head wrestling and gymnastics coach and the football coach. He was the Central High School state wrestling champion in 1965, North High School football coach, region champs in 1967, a Chico State head wrestling coach and assistant football coach in 1970, the conference wrestling champions of Chico State in 1970, conference football champions also in 1970 with Chico State. He was the head football coach at Chico State from 1974 till 1983. He was inducted into the Chico State Hall of Fame in 2001 and inducted into the City of Chico Hall of Fame in 2019. Dick Trimmer.
Steve Bernard, class of 65 for swimming and wrestling. Steve was a 3-year letterman in wrestling. He was a 145-pound state wrestling champion in 1965, member of Central's first wrestling state championship team in 65, all-state swimming state runner-up in the 100-meter breaststroke in 1965. He was a swimmer at ASU and honored with Western Athletic Conference honors in 1965. Steve Bernard.
Next up from Central High School, it's Shelby Hill, class of 1989, a member of the football team. Central All-State football for establishing multiple football records in 1988. He earned football scholarship to Syracuse University, the Orange Men, and became a third all-time leading receiver. Played in bowl games each year, the Peach Bowl, Aloha Bowl, Hall of Fame Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl. Signed with the Dallas Cowboys in 1994, then played for the Cleveland Browns in 1995. He completed his career playing 1 year with the Barcelona Dragons of NFL Europe in 1996. Shelby Hill.
We beat you our senior year, by the way, Shelby. Sorry. Just thought I'd throw that in there. You had a career night, but anyway. James, before we move on to East High, so people will ask every so often, you know, how do you get into the Hall of Fame? I mean, is it like some secret society? How do you get in? And right? So
Tell us about it, Vince. Tell us about the selection process.
So actually, the selection process is not that difficult. Obviously, you have to have a state championship, whether it be as a coach or a player, all-state as a player, or if you've made a significant contribution over a career on your campus, you could get in upon consideration and approval by one of these or one of these, by that guy right there. And the last point is very important, no felonies. So my first inductee 3 years ago, my first inductee 3 years ago was a coach by, why are you tapping him on the shoulder over there? No, he didn't make it? He didn't make the cut? Okay. my first inductee, I was told, Coach Ron Scott, who brought me into the committee, a longtime Alhambra coach, said, you know, you have to ask these questions. You have to ask these inductees, these nominees, these questions, because we got to know before we get too far in the process whether they qualify or not. My first inductee, Coach Jesse Parker. I had to ask him that question. And these guys were Coach was giving me a hard time, but I was serious about it. I said, God, I have to do a good job. This is my first one. I'm new to the committee. I really want to make a splash and do this right. So I called Coach Parker, and I said, hey, Coach, congratulations. We're inducting you into the Phoenix Union Sports Hall of Fame, but got to ask you some questions. So I went through kind of my little list, and I said, by the way, Coach, any felonies? And he stopped, and it was just silent on the phone. It was a good 5 seconds. He was a man of few words, very silent. And then he said, not yet. So anyway, that was so that's how you are considered for induction into the Hall of Fame. Okay?
Outstanding.
Good to know.
Moving on now to the East High Longhorns. Kenny Evans from East Phoenix High School, class of 1981, member of the basketball team. He was a 3-year varsity letterman, back-to-back state championship teams in 1980 and 1981. He was honored with an all-tournament selection in 1980 and 81, all-state honors as a senior in 81. He ranked number 2 all-time at East High with 400 career assists. The team ranked 16th nationally and 2nd in the Southwest in 1980, and in 1981 they ranked 8th nationally and 1st in the Southwest. Kenny Evans from East Phoenix High School.
Longhorns. Mark Easton, 1971, track, East High School. Mark was a 3-year varsity letterman, first place in the 440 and at the 6th annual AIA Spring Tournament, first place 440 at Luke Greenway Invitational, 1971, Arizona State AAA champion in the 440, and a member of nationally ranked mile relay team at Phoenix College, clocked the fastest mile relay time in National Junior College in 1972. Mark Easton, East High School.
Next up, we move to Maryvale High School. Our first inductee from Maryvale tonight is Felipe Sparks. Maryvale High School class of 1987, member of the football team, and he ran track and field. An All-American and first-team All-Arizona in 1987. He was a member of the Glendale Community College National Junior College Athletic Association National Football Team in 1988. He was the Defensive Player of the Year in 87 and 88. Inducted into the National Junior College Hall of Fame in 1996. He was a member of the Glendale Community College team, inducted into the National Junior College Hall of Fame in 2018. Felipe played football at ASU, selected second-team All-Conference in 1990, first-team All-Conference in 1992. He was a Jim Thorpe semifinalist for Best Defensive Back, and he played in the Hula and Senior Bowls. He was drafted by and played for the New York Giants from 1992 to 2000, played for the Dallas Cowboys from 2000 to 2001, and retired from the NFL after 9 seasons in 2001. Father to Felipe Sparks Jr., founder of Echo Boom, and also to American Idol winner and Grammy-nominated recording artist Jordan Sparks. Felipe Sparks.
Next up, Darren Woodson, Maryvale High School class of 87. Yeah, these guys played in the same backfield together. And there's one more we're going to get to here in a minute. Darren was a first-team All-Defense 1986, played football at ASU, earned honorable mention All-Conference in 89 and 90, honorable mention All-American as a junior, second-team All-Conference as a senior, played in the Blue-Gray Football Classic, drafted by and played for the Dallas Cowboys 92 to 2004, retired as the team's all-time leading tackler, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowl selection, inducted into the Arizona Sports Hall of Fame in 2009. inducted into the ASU Athletic Ring of Honor in 2014, inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor 2015, recipient of the Tom Landry Memorial Legend Award in 2016, inducted into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in 2017, has worked as an ESPN football analyst, appeared on NFL Live, SportsCenter, and First Take. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Woodson. Also had the state record for scoring 6 touchdowns in a single game. 6. Yeah, and 6. And he was the decoy in that backfield, but he had 6 touchdowns, so he was on to something there.
Next up, Mike Quijada from Maryvale High School, class of 1968. Member of the baseball and football team. Defensive back for the Phoenix Division champions in 1968. Captain of the state championship baseball team also in 1968. First team All-Division and All-State. He played in the North-South All-Star baseball game in 1968 and was a 2-year varsity starter in football. Congratulations, Mike Quijada.
This guy was another one of my idols back then. Kevin Galbraith, Maryvale High School, class of 88, football, track and field. Kevin was a 3-year varsity letterman in football and basketball, 4-year varsity letterman in track, 2-time first-team All-Arizona, Arizona Football Player of the Year in 1987, Gatorade Player of the Year in 1987, member of the state championship track team, and first place 4x100 relay team in 1986, played football at ASU, and is probably best known in his career in 1992 or 3 for that touchdown. 92 for winning the single-handedly, I think single-handedly, beating U of A, go Sun Devils, with that long touchdown run in 92. Congratulations, Kevin Galbraith.
Moving on to the North High School Mustangs, Doug Wesley. Doug was a member of the baseball and basketball teams in the class of 1960. He was a 3-year baseball and 2-year basketball varsity letterman, a member of the baseball state championship team in 1960. He held all-state honors at first base and pitcher in 1960. Third-team All-American at Phoenix College in 1961. He lettered in ASU baseball from 1962 to 1964, and he was a member of the first ASU team to play in the College World Series in 1964. Doug Wesley.
Next up, Bob Connor, class of 62. Bob Connor is being inducted for baseball, basketball, football, and wrestling. Wow. He was an all-state end in 1961, played on 2 state championship baseball teams, 60 and 61, played for Kerr Sporting Goods American Legion National Championship baseball team, currently breeds racehorses. Bob Connor.
And a quick shout out as well to the statisticians, if you will, Vince, for the Phoenix Union High School District. They dug up some amazing statistics on these ladies and gentlemen here tonight.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Don Lee, class of 1952, member of the baseball and basketball team. Don was a 3-year varsity letterman in baseball, 2 years in basketball. He attended the University of Arizona on a full athletic scholarship. He was selected to the All-American College baseball team in 1956. He still holds the pitching records at the University of Arizona for career wins at 38, complete games at 36, 8 shutouts, and single-season win record of 15-0. He signed a Major League Baseball contract with the Detroit Tigers in 1956 and played 9 years in the majors with 6 different teams. Don Lee. Wow.
Next up, Michael Scott. It's a popular name tonight. Class of 87, basketball and track and field. Michael was a member of the Arizona Super 5 in 86 and 87, Arizona Gatorade Player of the Year in 87, the Converse Player of the Year in 86 and 87, member of the state championship track and field team in 86 and 87, attended Tulsa University on a full athletic scholarship. He was the Defensive Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference in 89 and 91. He was all Missouri Valley Conference Defensive First Team in 89, 90, and 91. Played in the Mexico Basketball League in 91, played in the Portuguese European Basketball League, and won the Super Cup in 1992. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Scott.
Next up, Ron McKinney from North High School, class of 1987. Ron was a member of the basketball, football, and track team. He was first team All-State basketball in 1987, second team in 1986. He was named to the McDonald's All-American team in 87, played basketball at Phoenix College and Grand Canyon University. He was an All-State football player as a safety and wingback in junior and senior years, and he set the state record with 20 career interceptions. Ron McKinney.
Next up, Muhammad Oliver, North High class of 87. Muhammad is being honored for football, track and field, and wrestling. He was All-State in football and track, member of back-to-back state championship track teams in 86 and 87, state champion in the decathlon in 87, played football at Glendale Community College, was an All-American and NJCAA Hall of Fame inductee, two-time All-American in track and field at Glendale Community College, played football and ran track at the University of Oregon, was a Duck, was a two-time All-American in track and field, was the Pac-10 high jump champion in 1991, drafted by the Denver Broncos in 1992, competed in the decathlon at the USA Olympic Trials in 92, was ranked number 6 in the country and number 21 in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Muhammad Oliver.
Next up, we move to the Phoenix Union Coyotes. Mr. John Phelps, class of 1962, a member of the baseball, football, and wrestling team. He was a 4-year varsity letterman in baseball, football, and wrestling. Just think about that for a second. 3-time Division II regional wrestling champion, state wrestling champion runner-up in a 145-pound class in 1960, the state wrestling champion in the 145-pound class in 61, and the wrestling champion in the 154-pound division in 1962. The 3-time Golden Glove boxing champion in the light heavyweight division in 63 and the middleweight division in 64 and 65. John Phelps.
Phoenix Union, in the height of their attendance, they had 6,000 students. Imagine that, a high school with 6,000 students.
It's like Texas, Vince.
Yeah, well. Okay. Darnell Haney, Phoenix Union High School, class of 1956, basketball and football. I'm going to refer to Darnell as Mr. Haney, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But he was first team All-State in both basketball and football. He was a member of state championship teams both years. Was a member of the U.S. Coast Guard. Played on the All-Navy basketball team. Played basketball at Phoenix College and Utah State University. Was a JUCO regional champion in 1962. Honorable mention, junior college All-American. Earned professional draft invitations for both basketball and football. And he was one of 25 students to integrate Phoenix Union High School. 25 black students to integrate Phoenix Union High School. Mr. Darnell Haney.
Next up, we have Vic Sanchez from Phoenix Union High School, class of 1955. Vic was a member of the basketball, football, and wrestling team. He was a member of the football state championship in 1954, 3-year varsity starter as a football letterman. He was all-state selection in football in 1953 and 54, selected to the Arizona Coaches All-Star Football Game He earned a football scholarship to the University of Colorado, worked his way from teacher and coach to counselor, athletic director, principal, associate superintendent, and governing board member for the Tempe Union High School District. Marcos Deniza Football Stadium is named in his honor. Mr. Vic Sanchez.
Next up, Ken Silas, class of 66. Cross country and track. Ken was a member of the state championship cross country team in 65 and 66. He was the 880 state champion in 66. Set or tied state mile record during his senior year, 4.18 second mile. Ran track and cross country at Glendale Community College, 1970 to 73. Served 4 years in the U.S. Navy. Retired from the Phoenix Fire Department after 29 years of service. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Silas.
Next up, Marlon Porter, Phoenix Union High School class of 1966, member of the cross country and track and field team. First team All-State in cross country in 63, 64, and 65. He was the Arizona Boys Cross Country Athlete of the Year in those same years, 63, 64, and 65. He led the team to the state championship title in 1965. He was the first Native American named the Arizona Cross Country Athlete of the Year. A Vietnam combat veteran, a longtime AIA track and field and cross country official, and he currently resides in the Gila River Indian community. Marlon Porter.
Okay, moving right along, South Mountain High School. I heard Rebs down there. Okay. Starting off with Michelle Ray, class of 85, basketball and volleyball. Michelle was a 4-year varsity letterman in volleyball and a 2-year letterman in basketball. All-state in both sports in 85. Accepted a scholarship to Scottsdale Community College, where she was the Rookie of the Year and All-Conference basketball team in 1986, was the MVP a year later in 87, and was also the ACC All-Conference and All-Region team member in 1987. Michelle Ray.
Next up, we have Pam Harper from South Mountain High School, class of 1982, a member of the track and field team. Pam was ranked among the top 10 in the United States throughout high school for long jump and sprints. She was the state champion in long jump with 19 feet 5 inches, a state record held for 20 years from 1981 until 2001. State champion in the 100 meters at 11.8, the 200 meters 24.4, and the anchor for the 4x100 championship relay team in 1981. She was an All-American and Arizona Female Athlete of the Year in 1981. She accepted a scholarship to Mount San Antonio College and led the team to the South Coast Conference Championship. She was also an All-Conference and All-American. Pam Harper.
Next up, Darwin Russell, class of 87, basketball. Darwin was team captain of the state championship team in 1987, named MVP of the state championship game in 87, played basketball at Dixie College for 2 years, attended BYU Hawaii on full athletic scholarship for 2 years, member of the NAIA Final Four team his senior year, played semi-pro basketball in Cyprus, led the country in steals, and was third in scoring. Darwin Russell.
Next up, we have Ted Lawrence from South Mountain High School, class of 1961, a member of the football and track and field team. Ted was the Arizona Republic and Phoenix Gazette All-State football team member in 1961. He was also the Arizona High School All-Century Team football member, a full football scholarship awarded from the University of Arizona. He was a first-team All-Western Athletic Conference offensive lineman in 1964, drafted by the San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys. He worked for the Office of the U.S. Inspector General and was responsible for 5 western states and the territory of Guam. Ted Lawrence. Accepting this evening for Ted is his brother, Charles Lawrence.
Any Bruins here tonight? Trevor Brown High School. Trevor G. Brown. Forrest Valora, class of 77, football and track. Forrest was a 3-year varsity letterman in football. He was a 2-way starter. Rushed for 1,000 yards as a junior, 1,500 yards as a senior, averaged 5.7 yards per carry. Was All-State football honored by the Phoenix Gazette, co-player of the year in 1977. All-State track and field shot putter in 77, tight end at the University of Oklahoma from 77 to 81. Was awarded All Big 8 first team in 1980 and drafted by the Green Bay Packers in 1981. Ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Valora.
Next up from Trevor Brown High School, it's Justin Tate Mitten, class of 1987, a member of the baseball and football team. He was All-State, All-Arizona, and honorable mention All-American defensive back in 1987. He was a second-team All-State baseball shortstop, batting .490 and leading in stolen bases in 1987. He played on the North All-Star team in both sports. He was drafted by the Seattle Mariners in 1987. Played baseball for Brigham Young University in 1988. Played baseball also for Grand Canyon University from 89 to 91, and where he played in the NAIA World Series in 1990. He's the son of Phoenix Union Hall of Famer Trevor Brown football coach Bill Mitten. Justin Tate Mitten, congratulations.
Next up, Tony Hernandez, class of 88, cross country, track and field. Tony was a 3-year varsity letterman in cross country and track, cross country 3-time All-State selection, 2 state championships, 1 state runner-up. He was an ESPN High School All-American in 86 and 87, track and field 3-time All-State honors, 2-time 800-meter state champion, holds 2 state records in the 800-meter, at 153.81 and 1,600 meter at 414.15. In 1988, he received a scholarship to Arizona State University, where he ran the 800 and 1,600. Tony is no longer with us, and accepting the award in his honor is his old coach, Dave Cruikshank.
Moving on to the West High School Thunderbirds.
The T-Birds. Any T-Birds here tonight?
First up,
Got a few.
Jim Irvin from West High School, class of 1970, member of the basketball team. Jim was voted first team All-District and All-State in 1970. He was also first team All-State Phoenix Gazette in 1969 and 1970, a member of the Arizona All-Star team selection for the North team. He was a single-season point leader with 490 and the all-time career scorer with 820. He had a scholarship to Grand Canyon College, where he was a 4-year starter. He was All-District and honorable mention All-American, a 29-year teaching career and coaching volleyball and basketball in the Phoenix Union High School District. Jim Irvin.
Next up, Milt Naylor, West High, class of 56. Milt is being honored for baseball, basketball, football, track, and field. 3-year varsity letterman in baseball, basketball, and football. 2-year varsity letterman in track. First team All-State in baseball 2 years in a row, 55 and 56. Member of the basketball state championship team in 54. Member of the All-Star basketball team in 56. NROTC scholarship to University of Colorado, transferred to University of Arizona on football scholarship. Ladies and gentlemen, Milt Naylor.
Next up, we have Annette Miller Leos from West Phoenix High School, class of 1978, a member of the softball, tennis, track and field, and volleyball teams. She was a varsity team 4 years in softball, 3 years volleyball, and 1 year in track and field. She pitched a perfect game, striking out 11 batters in 1976. She was a member of the volleyball and softball state championship teams in 1978. She was a first-team All-State pitcher and state tournament MVP also in 78. Selected by Arizona Softball Coaches Association as the Prep All-American Female Athlete of the Year. She played for the Phoenix Union Hall of Fame inductee Paula Knoll, and she played softball at Mesa Community College. Annette Miller Leos.
Next up, John Irvin, West High, class of 78. Basketball, cross country, and track and field. John was a varsity letterman for 4 years in track, 2 years basketball, 1 year cross country, 2-time state champion decathlete in 77 and 78, state runner-up long jump. His record at 23:11 in 1978. Track and field news high school All-American. Phoenix College decathlon record of 71:81, which was a junior national college record, national college decathlon champion. NJCAA All-American, placed second in the USA versus USSR dual meet in 1979. ASU Pac-10 championship team, decathlon record, second place team at the NCAA meet in 1981. He was an NCAA All-American for track and field decathlete in 1982. His college coaching career spanned 1983 to 2005, where he won 4 national championships at Central Arizona College. John Irvin. Oh, and it should be noted that John was coached by his older brother in high school, who was here. Can you imagine? We're going to be all, we're going to be Hall of Famers someday, you and I. So, wow.
Same night even, Vince.
Yeah,
Amazing.
same night. It is. So this has been an amazing evening. It's been a labor of love throughout the year. For those of you folks that received the wrath from me in terms of your induction and us having to track you down, thank you for being so kind. To the rest of our committee, this is something that is a year-round process, and as I said, this was as much of a big night for us as it was for all of you. Again, because I went to school with a lot of you guys, and Kevin, I love you to death. We were teammates, and I was kidding when I said about you getting a scholarship because of me. You got it on your own. So anyway, it's fine. But thank you again. James, how do people get involved with the Hall of Fame?
Well, they can go to the website, Vince. It's foundation, the number 4, education.org. All the proceeds from tonight are going to go to this worthwhile education cause, Phoenix Union Foundation for Education. Again, it's foundation, number 4, education.org. And we're just thrilled to be a part of this evening tonight. If you guys missed this, or you have friends or family members that want to watch this back again, we're live streaming it here this evening. It'll be available on YouTube. Just search for the JV Sports Show. It'll be right there on our channel, and you can watch it on demand shortly after the evening is over here tonight. So we appreciate everyone coming out. It was a wonderful evening, and we're just thrilled to be a part of it.
Yeah, and this was our first paid gig, right?
I think so. Is it paid?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
I didn't even know
We'll
that.
settle up when we're done. But thank you. And again, thank you all very much for all of you coming, both near and far. We appreciate it. It was an honor for us and to honor you.
Thank you all. You guys made it happen.
And we'll turn it back over to Dr. Munoz.
thank all of our, and congratulate all of our inductees this year. We deeply appreciate the outstanding contributions you've made to our schools and our programs and our communities in Phoenix Union. We hope that this ceremony and your induction into our Sports Hall of Fame will always remain a special part of your lives. I also like to take this opportunity to thank our Hall of Fame committee, because really, folks, without them behind what we do, none of this is possible. So just really want to quickly acknowledge our members, Kevin Belcher, David Cruikshank, Vince Delicio, I mispronounce his name all the time, I'm sorry, Brian Fair, Natasha Foster, Samantha Keene, my assistant who keeps me sane, Chuck LeBenz, Erica Parra, Ray Pino, Rudy Sanchez, Ron Scott, and Tom Williams. Those guys and those ladies are unbelievable, and they've make this thing happen every year, so I couldn't have done it without them, and we appreciate the work that they do. Lastly, we just want to hope that you continue to support our schools and our students and our athletic programs in Phoenix Union through the foundation, which was mentioned. Proceeds from this ceremony and our Hall of Fame golf tournament goes to scholarships that we give back to our athletes, our future Hall of Famers. We're trying to continue to give back and recognize those young ladies and young men that are going through our schools right now. If you're interested in learning more about the foundation, Michelle Alcantara, who I introduced earlier, is in the back. You can get information in regards to how you can get involved and the information regarding our foundation. Once again, I just want to thank you all for coming out. May you have a very blessed holiday season and a wonderful new year with all your family and friends. Please drive safely and safe travels to all of you who've come from out of state. So thank you. Take care.